Hey there, it's Erin with Time Saving Templates, and today I wanted to go over an example of how to use one of the new templates we added last fall. One is for human resources or compensation professionals to use at a company if you have a system or you want to implement a system where you're giving increases based on seniority or the time within a certain job. So it's usually called a step rate pay system or a time-based system. And so this is different than most of my other compensation templates that are pay for performance. And a step rate pay scale would be common in like a union or manufacturing environment, or also government, teaching, in the education industry, things like that. I believe they have different types of pay scales where it's a predetermined amount once they hit certain milestones. You'll see here I have the steps listed out here. So we have options between 1 to 10 steps. And so each step can be reaching 6 months, reaching a year, reaching 18 months. This is all editable where you can set up the green cells are kind of like the key where you can enter what you want the 10 steps to be. So it doesn't have to be exactly what I have here, but there are a spot for entering up to 10 steps as well as 10 different grades. So this could be a grade or it could be a job level, depending on what you have. If everyone has the same min and max of the range, we're going to break that out into different step increments, but you only need one level or one grade if it's the same range. So if you have separate ranges, then you would need to label them as something and enter the min and the max. You don't have to use all 10 steps. So if you only had like 8 steps, you would enter the number of steps per grade that you want to assign, and then it's going to leave the others blank. And then you can enter your min and your max. And what this template will do for you is split out based on your min and max in the steps per grade. It's going to break those out into equal increases between all the steps that you identified, so that step 1 is always, really that's their starting salary, would be the minimum, and then from there each step to the max that you with this one we set grade 8, so grade 8 is at the max, and then it's equal amounts in between. And then if we change that to 10 steps, then it would readjust so that everything is like an equal increase. After you get the steps figured out, we want to move to the employee detail page, and it will first look like this. The white cells is where you'll need to get the information and paste it in. And the gray cells are all formulas. So if you scroll right, majority of the cells over here are formulas. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste in my sample data here. And so you'll see I have these extra columns. I'm just going to go ahead and hide them. That's if you want to add something more than, name, ID. The main things you will need is date of hire for sure, because the steps are based on when they hit the different milestones of time in the job, or that's a good point. This, instead of hire date, you could also change this to time in the job in case somebody gets a promotion or transfer. You could update whatever you put in this column is what the step review is going to calculate off of, the step review date. So you'll see a lot of things populate when I pasted that information in: the hire date, the current hourly rate, and the salary grade. It's automatically going to pull in the grade, min, and max that we entered before. And it's also calculating how much time they're in the role, in which grade and which step they're at. But the most important thing to remember on this tab is that it's all based on this date that I have entered here at the top. So it will actually come blank when you receive it. So I guess it would look like this. But as I put in a date, then it gives us the steps as of the month. So if I put in December 31st, it's going to show me everybody's step rate, the amount, and the date, the review date, as of December 31st. Now, the thing to note with this, because it can get a little bit confusing, is that for people who had a step increase during 2023, if I'm using December 31st, it's going to show that last date. So we have a January, a March, August. These people had their step increases for the year, and so they won't have their next one until 2024. So I would have to put in a 2024 date if I wanted to see the increases as of, say I changed this to December 31st, 2024, then it would update the dates here and show me that in March of 2024 is when they're due the step increase. Scrolling down, I also included some examples of new hires here at the bottom. So let me go back to a 2023 date. So if we're using December of 2023 and these people were hired in September, October, and December, they're not going to have a step increase in 2023 because they were just hired. So for cases like that where they're new hire, it will future date and put these into 2024 because there's no date in 2023 that we can put here. So those will just default to their next review date in 2024. So we can filter out those years if you're wanting to filter and just see 2023. So that's something to keep in mind. And how I recommend to use this, just use it on a monthly basis, because if you want to see everybody that had a step increase, say in March of 2023, then I need to put March 31st of 2023 up here. You'll see this one updated to March of 2023. And then if I go back to December, what's happening here when I put March of 2023 instead of December is that a couple of these people had a step, are getting 2 step increases within the year. So since we just have one employee per row, it's only going to show the last increase, last review step as of the date we put here. So if I put March 31st, then I'm going to see that they're due a February 1st step increase. But if I put December 31st, the February increase is no longer calculating here because they also had one 6 months later in August. So if you want to review, if you're going back or you're going forward, you just have to be careful with how you input the date right here, and then also double checking that you have the right year and that it's calculating them with that information. It'll calculate their step and their target step rate, which is their increase. To help with this review, I do have a detail summary tab. So everything in here will update based on that date you enter here in the green cell. So I have December 31st entered, and in this tab, it's only going to populate with people receiving a step review date in December, the entire month of December. So you'll see we have 2 on December 1st of 2023, and it's just showing a few of the columns to make it a little bit less overwhelming. So this may be utilized more frequently, but just remember that those February increases, if I wanted to see those February increases, I'm going to have to put a February date. So to was it 29 or 28? It has to be an actual date if it's not leap year. So I have to have the month ending February 28th, the last day of the month, for it to capture, to be sure I'm capturing those increases that are at a 6-month or less increment. Otherwise won't capture those. So now when that's selected, you'll see here those 2 February increases are now populating here, and this will show us just 2023 increases for February. So that's how I would use the dates here. I would do it monthly just to be sure. If all of your step increases are annual and you don't have 6-month increments, then you could probably do the whole year at once and everyone will have one actual review date. But if you have 6-month increments, I would do it monthly to make sure you're capturing each month. And then if you scroll to the right, it's just calculating the hourly increase amount based on their current hourly rate to the new increase step rate. And it's going to annualize the cost. Now, this is also just an estimate. We're taking the hourly rate or the hourly increase amount times 2080, which is the typical amount of hours that are used when we're converting someone from hourly to salaried. You're just going to multiply 2080 times the hourly rate. But we're also adding in an overtime element. So if you want to estimate 5% of their total hours or overtime, you can just add it here. You can add a percentage and it updates to everybody. So that's just also just an estimate. If they're having 2 increases within 1 year, this annualized cost is only taking that last increase and annualizing it. So it's not exact amount where we're prorating the first 6 months and the second 6 months. So also keep that in mind. These are all estimates and tracking where people are at when their next step rate increases due. So with that information, you can keep track of when increases are due. The enter steps will just be giving you kind of a snapshot of how many employees are at the 6-month step, how many are at the 6-year step. And so this is all pulling from the same file, which does change as the date here changes. Okay, so I hope that helps. And you can find this template by going to timesavingtemplates.com and then go to the shop in human resources section, and you'll find this time-based step rate pay system. You'll see it there in the HR section where we have a bunch of different options for you. Now, these are too many options to look through and you're not sure what to do, but you are in HR or compensation. We have a new package where you can get all of the templates linked to here at the top of this section. So I'll also link to that in the video if you'd like to take a look at what's included. Or if you're just looking for the free resources, we do have some free downloads you can get. Here, you just go to timesavingtemplates.com/free resources, and you'll see there's a section for HR and comp, and we have a free comp metrics cheat sheet. I hope that helps, and until next time, don't forget, I am here to help you streamline and save time when it comes to using your Excel spreadsheets.